Hello and welcome to the world of Foros. I'm your DM, Jake Parsley. If you haven't listened to the Welcome to Foros episode, feel free to go back in this same feed and get a quick history on the world. But otherwise, let's jump in and learn along with the characters. Foros is a world populated by humans and nature spirits called clerics, spelled K-L-E-R-I-K, not the D&D class. These clerics are of this world, but also use Thaic magic to transcend it. A human empire, ruled by a man named Wolfred Malus, has risen in opposition to these natural forces, creating his own apocryphic magic. Our players join the youngest prince of the empire, Norman Malus, on a diplomatic retinue to the desert land of Nocturne. We find them in the capital city of Kiblik. Hello everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Echoes of Malus. We set in on the capital city of the High Kingdom of Nocturne, and zoom in on an outdoor garden where we see Aila. Would you describe yourself for me?
Yes. Tall for a woman, 5'10", with very fair complected, flowing blonde hair and piercing blue eyes. She's dressed in dark blue robes that match the monastery where she was raised and trained. Aila is somebody who's deeply connected to her surroundings, especially nature, and was raised to appreciate nature. And whenever she gets a chance, she likes to get into a garden like this or walk in the woods or that sort of thing where she can just kind of get back in tune with nature.
So Aila, you are alone in this garden of the Egetis estate. The cool night air stirs, and while others would find it chilling, to you this is but a gentle reminder of the extreme frigidity of your homeland to the far north. The chirp of locusts and the trill of frogs weave a discordant melody in the darkness. Serna is the only one of the three moons which shines tonight. It casts its red glow over the garden. You have come here to be alone, as at this moment all the common rooms in the estate are being used by administrative folk to finalize the contracts for the trade agreement between Malus and the High Kingdom of Nocturne. The bedrooms are filled with diplomats, whose negotiations have already completed at this point. As such, this is the only place in the estate you've found where you can perform your nightly rituals in peace. You find a peaceful corner of the garden, next to a small pond, which dances with the tiny ripples caused by insects moving about on its surface. Above it, the large fronds of a palm bend down low to the ground. A few of the date fruits on it already appear ripe. What do you do as you perform your ritual?
So Ayla's daily rituals are done to refocus her spirit and refocus her energy and her place in the world. It also brings her back in touch with nature and helps her to focus on where she's been and what she's gone through and where she comes from. So she usually starts by finding a quiet place like this garden, sits down cross-legged, pulls out her pack. As long as it's an appropriate place, she finds a little spot and will clear a little spot on the ground to set a little piece of incense and light this incense, and then sits and takes in the smell of that. She closes her eyes and listens to the sounds around, listening to the bugs, listening to the birds, the rustle of a breeze through the leaves or through the grass, and focuses on just the things she can hear and the things she can feel and not the things she can see.
Very nice. As you perform these rites, the world begins to fade away along with all its worries. First, it fades into a void, and then your own self begins to fade away with it, trailing off with a golden light. You know what is happening, because this is not the first time this has happened to you. You continue to fade away, and you feel the last bits of yourself pass into the ether as the golden light dims into darkness. Then, for a moment, there is nothing.
Sit and reflect. That point of nothingness is what I've been looking for. That's the part that makes me feel like I'm truly in touch with what's around me, with just the nature and the beauty of life and how everything connects. It feels cool and sounds warm all at the same time.
You embrace this still moment, but you know that it will soon pass. The world begins to rush back, nauseatingly fast. Golden light streaks past your face, almost blinding you, until once again, you are whole. But you are not Aila. Now you are someone else. Someone from long, long ago. You feel the warmth of a fire on your face, and the bitter cold of your homeland on your back. The sun, Soho, is just beyond the horizon, but it still casts its light over the sky. You look up, and there's still only one moon out, but it's no longer Cerna. It is the blue moon, Neela. She stands, full in her glory, bathing the world in blue light. You sit next to the crackling fire, fully transfixed by the celestial dance in the sky, but your trance is interrupted by a hand on your shoulder. A woman in rudimentary fur clothing stands over you, her face hidden by shadow. She leans down, and her face is revealed to you by the light of the fire. Who is this woman to you, and what expression is she wearing?
Aila realizes this moment that I'm not Aila. This is a memory. This is a deja vu moment. I look up and to this face of this aged, beautiful face of my longtime master. She's trained me from a very young age, and here we are, years down the road. She looks on my face as a mother would a small child, even though I'm not a small child. She has that look of love with a hint of worry in it. I can tell that she's apprehensive about what she's getting ready to say. That's the reason she's put her hand on my shoulder. That's something she's done many, many times before. I can always tell when she's getting ready to say something or tell me something that she's kind of concerned about. It's that hand. It always feels the same.
She begins to speak after making some steady eye contact with you. She says, Barum, tomorrow will be the day. It was revealed to me. You will have to go alone. I will not be able to help you from this point forward.
I think you've been preparing me for this for a long time. As much as I've dreaded this day coming, I also look forward to it. I know you won't be there beside me, but you will be there with me, deep in my heart, in every fiber of my being.
She smiles warmly at you, but the concern does not leave her eyes. When you meet with the bear, it may be quick to anger, but without his help, we will not survive. Humans cannot live without the help of clerics. Do you have your offering ready?
I do. I've prepared as you instructed me. I do hope he finds it acceptable and that it meets his needs. And I also want to be very gracious toward him so that he understands that we truly value the aid and security that he provides for our people. Would you like to look over the offering one more time?
No. I trust you. Get some rest. I will wake you in the morning. Barum, you go and sleep. You do not dream. And in the morning, you are awoken by your master. Barum, it's time.
Okay.
I'll see you off. Do you need anything before you go?
I don't think so. I think just stand with me for just a minute. Hold my hands and let's just be for a moment as I settle myself and resolve to move forward.
Of course. She takes you by the hand and squeezes them. You feel the warmth from her palms rush into yours. And then, without saying a word, she nods and then reaches up to dry a tear from your cheek. And you turn and you walk alone for the first time into the woods. The soft crunch of snow beneath your boots is the only sound that accompanies you as you walk deeper and deeper into the forest, until you come to the lair where the bear lives. You see a massive, hulking brown bear asleep in the center of a grove. And as you approach, his ear twitches. And you hear the deep breath of this bear begin to quicken. And then a voice comes out from the bear.
Who dares enter my domain?
I immediately drop to a knee.
The bear stands quickly, lumbering, but far more quickly than you could assume a creature of this size would be able to do. It towers over you, its massive jaws hanging mere inches from your face, and you feel its hot, wet breath on you.
You bring me an offering.
Yes, Great One. I maintain and lock gaze with him as I speak. Hold steady, calming every nerve in my body not to react, not to run, not to sweat. I've brought the offering. We request your aid and your protection as we go into this season. Winter is upon us, and as we get closer, we once again, as you have so graciously done year to year, ask for your assistance and care. Would you like me to retrieve the offering?
Show me.
Barum, what is in the offering?
I pull out of my pouch and unfold it. It's a leather about the size of a small child's head. I take the packet and I set it down in front of me, and I carefully pull back the corners of the leather. Inside, it's a variety of things. There's in one spot, I've got several berries that we have saved to make this offering. They're something that I know to be especially pleasing to wildlife, bears, and so on. Another area has a smaller pack inside of it that I open, and as I open it, it's fresh caught salmon. I've got it in a separate pack so that it stays in its own little spot. So I open that and you can see the salmon.
The bear dips its massive head down toward this leather pouch and buries its nose into it and sniffs deeply. It raises its head toward you and looks you dead in the eyes, and the pace of your heart quickens. This is the moment. The bear opens its jaw and says,
Good.
Again, the world fades around you, and your selfhood follows behind, wreathed in golden light. When you come back, you are once again in the garden, and once again, you are Aila.
I immediately reach out with my right arm and put it just behind me to brace myself. Still sitting on the ground, but I feel like I've just traveled very, very fast on the back of an animal, and I feel slightly disoriented. I sit for a moment. I open my eyes and look around. Still my breath. Take a few deep breaths in and realize, okay, that was a flash. I wasn't asleep. That wasn't a dream. It was a vision. I've had these many times. They happen very frequently. I've never met this person before. I like the bear. The bear was intimidating and scary.
We fly across the city to a little hookah lounge in the livelier section of town. Lee, an hour earlier, you were seated on the outskirts of a common room in the Egetis estate, which is the ancestral home of the most powerful aristocratic family in all of Nocturne. At the time, you were struggling to stay awake as diplomats deliberated a trade agreement in the driest terms possible. Seated next to you in that room was another young man, only a few years younger than yourself. You learned that his name was Damien Egetis, of the House Egetis, and that his parents had high hopes he would someday be the leader of this country. But tonight, his plan was to sneak out and bring you carousing with him and his new friend, the Prince of the Empire, Norman Malus. You now stand in the washroom of this hookah lounge. You look in the mirror and see yourself. First, describe what you look like. Then, describe what you look like in the disguise that you're wearing right now.
Sure. Lee is a 5'6", 23-year-old tan young man. He has green eyes. He keeps his black hair shaved bald, but you can still see it in his thick eyebrows. And he normally wears kind of a thick overcoat and keeps a rapier at his side. Today, however, he is in disguise as Minos Vassilou, a nobleman from the Malus Empire. He currently has on a blonde short wig. He has makeup on to disguise kind of the tone of his skin just a little bit, and he is wearing much finer clothes than you could normally ever catch him in.
So, Lee, you finish looking yourself in the mirror, and then use some water from the basin to clean your face. After this, you feel something crumple in your breast pocket. You reach into it, and what do you find?
Lee has a letter from his uncle Adalbert, and as he unfurls it, he is careful to catch the small paper baggie that almost falls into the sink.
You review this letter again. It reads, L. You know what you need to do at this point. Find him, end him, and do not get caught. The legacy of our people rests solely on your shoulders. If the worst should happen, you have 2 pills in this bag. Take them both, or it will be extremely painful. With love, A.
I think Lee carefully folds the letter back up, tucks it away in kind of a hidden breast pocket, leans on the sink counter for a minute or two, and just kind of steels himself. It is uncomfortable to look in the mirror and see the disguise he is wearing for many different reasons, but right now he's mostly frustrated. He was under the assumption that Norman Malus would be here, and he has not seen hide nor hair of the young prince.
What would Lee do if Norman Malus were here right now?
The plan, as he understands it, is... man, this is tough. I think genuinely a lot of the planning that he and Adalbert have done is it kind of relies on the fact that Lee is charismatic. Lee is capable of holding a poker face, of connecting to the people he's near. He can make friends. That's something that he's capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Lee was smart enough to not admit the fact that he's not sure he'll ever be able to do that with somebody that he knows is like party to the Malus Empire. So the plan is he makes friends with Norman. He gets him in some kind of seclusion. He gets him away from the guards, offs him, and leaves. There's no sticking around. There's no second part of the plan. He gets the job done and he tries to get back to Adalbert. And there's not a lot of plan to that. There's not a lot of steps in there, It's an outline more than it is a plan. But I think the further he has gotten into this diplomatic mission, the more impossible that has seemed to him. The more it's been like, oh, wow, I don't blame Adalbert for this. I don't blame my uncle, but I am in way over my head. I am in so impossibly far over my head. People seem, even if they don't know Minos Vasilou, they seem to know his name. And so, he's already gotten recognized in this disguise a lot more than he's ever wanted to. It's hard for him to find a moment of peace. That Damien Aegetus brought him out, which he thought would be a good opportunity, but now it's like, oh, he's looking for me. He wants to know where I am. None of this has gone according to plan. I think Lee has been stuck to his uncle for the last 3 years, just trying to figure out what their next move could be to hit the Empire where it hurts. Mm-hmm. And the minute he's let on his own, it's like, oh God, all our machinations are so much more difficult to pull off than I ever thought they would be.
You are putting away the letter, and the pouch rests in your palm for a moment. Out of your periphery, you see in the corner of the room a waste bin. And for a single moment, these assurances of your demise hang in the balance between your pocket and the waste bin. But inevitably, they get sucked into the gravity of one or the other. Which is it?
They go back into Lee's pocket. He hopes he never has to use them. But he can see a few different futures, some closer than others, where they might be the easy way out.
The bathroom door slams open as you place this back in your pocket, and Damien Aegetus is there. He says, "Hey, we were wondering where you've been. I gotta take a leak. Give me a sec." He walks into a stall behind you and shuts the door.
Lee turns to the mirror again and starts making sure that his wig is on correctly, and that he didn't accidentally wash any of his makeup off. And he says with a little bit of an affectation to his voice, "Oh, yes, no, I did tell you I was feeling a little unwell. I just thought I might, splash a little water on my face, wake myself up before I rejoin you.
Well, don't take too long, man. You're gonna miss the whole thing. We got a guy out there who's buying wine for everyone.
Oh, I can't think of anything that would be worse for my stomach right now.
Oh, have you? Hey, he kicks the door behind him, finishes up, and walks up to the wash bin, kind of like almost by force of personality, pushes you away from the wash bin so that he can use it. He says, "You ever tried hookah?"
You know, I have not.
You wanna?
I do appreciate the offer. I just don't think tonight's the night.
Man, okay. Seems like I picked like the two the worst people to party with here in the whole damn country. You know, you don't do shit, and then this Norman Malus guy. Last I hear, he's not even planning on showing up now.
Oh, wonderful. That is very much like the Malus, I think. You know, I don't want to spoil your fun. I still think you should partake however much you like. I'll be there beside you. I would rather not, be sick all over this beautiful lounge.
Come on, we'll make the most of it. He pats you on the shoulder and leads the way out of the washroom.
I follow.
As you pass through the door, you are immediately immersed in the din of a lively little hookah lounge. This building is made of orange-red stone, and on the walls and ceiling, dense, intricate patterns in gold paint depict the flow of the river Cinco Meda as it breaks into several small rivers forming a delta. Most of the tables here, low to the ground and surrounded by pillows, are filled with chattering clientele as they shout and laugh and joke and share drinks and mirth with each other.
Is Damien leading me anywhere in particular?
Damien is currently leading you to probably the most lively table in the room. It's in the corner up on a little raised area that's filled with a bunch of his party. Mostly just other young people who are of your age and noble in birth.
I think as we weave our way through the tables back to his group, I kind of try to shuffle up next to him instead of trailing behind and ask, so you said Norman isn't coming? Is he not feeling well also?
Yeah, no, we, my buddy here, he points to a young woman. She said that she waited back at the house for him and was going to come with to show him how to get here, and then his guards came out and said that he wasn't coming, so whatever.
I wonder if it was his choice, sometimes the guards are given instructions contrary to what a young nobleman wants to do. I'm sure you're familiar.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I kind of do whatever I want. All right, come on. Let's sit down. We got some hummus to dig into. I know that that's about all that you're interested in a place like this.
Well, come on. I still enjoy fineries. I just really don't think any kind of drug would do me well right now.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I tell you what. Can I make it up to you?
How's that?
How about this? Lee kind of hollers to kind of get the attention of everybody in this little group. He's like, everybody here, you're all kind of part of the Aegetis estate, right? You're all from Nocturne?
Yeah, they all like kind of half-heartedly cheer.
Okay, good. There we go. What would you like to know about the Malus Empire? It's on the house. I think Lee grabs a glass of something off the table. He doesn't check what it is and just kind of sips on it casually.
The woman that Damien gestured to a moment ago leans forward and says, "Is it true that everyone in the Empire has an auto? Like, they all get to drive themselves wherever they want?"
No, but that would be a beautiful world, wouldn't it? You must give me harder questions. Let's make a game of it. See if you can stump me.
Ooh. Someone from the back shouts, do you guys like kill clerics all the time?
Ooh, not all the time. I won't say it hasn't happened. It does happen, But, that's a job for soldiers. I don't do it. I'm sure we've hired people. Do you have these here? Little, what are they called? Maybe they're called something different here. Cacafloga. Little fire sprites. They love barns.
Yeah. No, I think the word is related to what it is in your language. It's Kekioflega, I think we call them.
Oh, yeah, very similar. See, we already have so much in common. No, those little nuisances, that's a kind of cleric. Those are taken care of constantly where I'm from. I'm sure there are bigger ones, more dangerous ones, but...
How big is the crater at Tagma?
Oh, I'm sure we don't want to talk about, warfare.
Have you seen it?
Who's asking this?
This is some random in the group. You have not met this person. It's a young man, short cropped black hair.
I think Lee kind of tries to wave him off the first time. He's like, let's go with something harder. Everyone talks about that.
Well, wait. It sounds like we stumped you then.
Oh, all right, fine. Well, no, I haven't seen it, but I have heard you can see it from as far as 2 miles away because there are no other landmarks left.
Whoa, everyone kind of there's a ripple of awe that goes through the group. Lee, give me a performance check. We're going to call this a DC 20.
Oh, shit. Okay. I got a 12 plus 5 for a 17.
Most everyone in the group doesn't notice anything odd about this. But the next time you look at Damien, you see that he is just watching you.
Surely there's something else you've heard about, some kind of technology, something about the Malus family you want to know?
Hey, that airship that's parked at the house, did you ride here on it? Lee, before you answer, you see Damien is now turned away from you and is talking to one of his buddies. And his buddy is now looking at you.
Cool, no worries. I'm fine with that. That doesn't mean anything. No, but, I believe we're meant to ride home in it. As far as I know, when we left Malus, it was still somewhat in development. And so, they finished it, flew it here in half the time it took us to travel overland. And so I'll get to see the inside of that on the way back.
Man, that's sick. Someone else pipes up from the back and they're like, hey, is your sword made of chromatic steel? But then before you can answer, Damien interjects and is like, hey, you want to go out and get some fresh air?
Yeah, yes.
All right, come on. And he places a hand on your arm, gently but firmly begins to guide you out of the lounge.
Cool. Lee sets his drink down and kind of waves to all the people. He thinks this has gone pretty well.
Damien leads you outside of the lounge, and you all walk to a space between the two buildings. A couple of his friends trailing behind. Everyone is staying in good spirits, but give me an insight check. I'm going to call this a DC 15.
My insight is not very good.
Yeah.
I got a 3 plus 1 for a 4.
Okay. Everything is still all good. It's all hunky-dory. They're just coming out here to, get some fresh air. So you all step out and you're leaning against the building to get some fresh air. Damien posts up on one side of you and his friends post up on the other side of you.
Lee's completely nonplussed. He has no awareness of what's going on. He's like, see, Damien, as much as I could have enjoyed the hookah lounge, I haven't seen very much of your city. This is nice.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine. We'll have to take you around and show you all the places while you're here. I know you guys are still going to be in town for a while, but you're probably itching to get back and see your dad. His birthday's coming up soon, right?
Oh yes, of course. But the old codger, he never wants to do anything.
I know how that goes. My dad's the same way. He's all business. That's how those nobles are, right?
I think not all of them, right? And I try to give him like a friendly nudge.
Yeah, maybe not. What would you know about that, Minos?
How do you mean?
Well,
I know we're not from the same country, but we are birds of a feather, Damien.
I don't know about that. You see, the things you've been saying, a lot of it doesn't add up, Minos. Like, the way you talk about noble life, the things that you talk about your homeland don't really, align with the things that other people I've met from Southern Malus talk about it. And then, well, you of all people would know that Artemi Vassilou died 5 years ago.
I didn't really want to talk about his death. I did think that we were on the same page there when I said that he didn't do anything for his birthday.
I think that's buyable. Give me a deception check. I'm gonna make a contested insight check.
Okay. Please.
That's gonna be at a +3 from Damien. What did you roll?
I got a 4 + 7 for 11.
Damien looks you in the eyes and begins to open his mouth. And we're going to cut over to another player. At the Igetis estate, we move to one of the common rooms. Kato, please describe yourself for me.
Kato's pretty average height, around 5'10". He's kind of in a pretty unassuming, smock shirt, white, with a few buttons on it, some slacks. He has in his shirt pocket a pince-nez, a little armless set of glasses that he uses anytime he needs to read a document, but otherwise keeps it off his face. And at his belt is a shipwright's hammer, which is a little out of place on his person, but it makes sense knowing his background. He has calculating eyes. His hair is pulled back in a pony. It's jet black. And he's standing there with his arms crossed, seemingly thinking to himself, but also listening intently to his surroundings.
Kato, you are in an ornately decorated room. The white stone walls of the Igetis estate are draped with banners of red and gold, and the floors are lined with plush rugs and fine silk pillows for seating. The northern wall bears a painted stucco depiction of the river Cinco Meda in her cleric form, which, as you understand it, is purely mythical. And while Cinco Meda is in fact a cleric who is the spirit of the river, her only physical form is that river. In this depiction, she is acting as a barrier. To her left are the people of Nocturne, and on her right is a depiction of another cleric. This is Atromos, a massive snake with wings of a bird and 2 clawed legs. Atromos terrorizes Nocturne, flying over its skies and hunting all prey that it can. Once, on the journey here from Malus, you witnessed Atromos in the far distance, flying over the sky. And you were thankful at that time that it did not decide to come any closer. Earlier today, this room that you're in was packed to the brim. The medley of Nocturne's arid climate, the sheer number of bodies in this room, and the overinflated words of arrogant diplomats made the space nearly intolerable. However, a little over an hour ago, an agreement was finally struck, and Norman Malus, the Igetis family, and all their bands of diplomats made their exits. Now, cool evening air filters in through the small windows near the ceiling, which you find makes it much easier to breathe. Those who remain in the room are the ones who actually put the words on paper. It's no longer time for high-minded platitudes or pithy remarks. This is when the specific meaning of words matter, and the various ways those words may be interpreted in decades to come must be deeply considered. You sit at a table across from a Nocturnian woman who wears a fine white dress with gold embroidery. She introduced herself to you as Naima. She hands you a short stack of papers and says, "For the representative from the Legion to review." Do you say anything in response before looking at these papers?
I just look at her. I take the papers with my right hand and I say, "Thank you. I'll take a look at them right now." And I pull the pince-nez out of my shirt pocket with my left hand and start to look them over.
Sure. You begin rifling through these yellowed pages, trying to understand the implications of everything that's been written out here. You look...
Do I have any legal counsel?
Yeah.
Am I the legal counsel? Is the legal counsel in the room with us right now?
I think you're the legal counsel.
I think, yes. I think you are.
Look around like, is anybody going to help me with this?
No, I've done similar things before. It's not my first time looking at something like this, but even if I'm experienced, I would probably be the kind of person to have at least a few other people to check over my work.
Yeah, you are making the first pass through of this documentation. There are several other members of the Legion who came with you who are also looking for verbiage that affects their area of expertise. You are very much a generalist, though. So you take the first look. Do you want to give me an investigation check to tell me what you find?
Sure. That is a 2 on the die. So a 2 total.
Ooh.
Hell yeah, dude. That's
Yeah.
the legal counsel.
There's a lot of phrases like "whereas" in this document. I don't quite understand them.
Naima looks at you and studies you for a moment and then goes, "Oh, a joke. I understand. Please, if you do have any questions, let me know."
What do the papers say?
It's mostly X will pay Y, this many shipments of this to last until this date, yada, yada, yada. All of it seems super boilerplate. You're not really, nothing stands out to you. And your eyes begin to paste over. You are struggling to care about this at all in this moment. You look up and look to the door where your bodyguard, Connor, was sitting a while ago, and it seems like he has stepped out, but this is a palace full of guards, so you're not very concerned about that. Is there, Naima leans over the table. Is there anything that, you want to change, add, remove?
This, from my generalist perspective, seems to be in order, but of course we have multiple phases of review. We'll have to take it to our council and look it over. But
Of course.
The Legion is satisfied with this perspective so far.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. You pass the papers on to the next person down the line from you. This is a man named John. He is the financial guy on your team, and he begins to study the papers over. So you and Naima find yourselves with a moment with nothing really official to do. And she leans on her hand, looking kind of bored, and says, "So, you all will fly out of here tomorrow, I've heard. The airship has landed."
I believe we will be departing via the airship. We'll have to work it out with the Malus representatives on whether or not there is room for us, but ideally, that's the plan, yes.
Do you really trust that thing? What if it just, falls out of the sky?
I would be a little concerned about Atromos, and if the cleric decided to deal with us while we were in its domain, but so far it's ignored us, and we've not had that much trouble.
Well, may Cinco Meda guide you and protect you.
Thank you. I hope so. This stucco is beautiful. Is it accurate? Is it a historical moment, or is it simply just an artistic depiction?
It's a religious depiction. Cinco Meda is the patron cleric of all of Nocturne, and we honor her, and in return, she offers us what protection she can. But we also have to protect ourselves, which is why, as you've seen, the traders who move through this land are so heavily armed.
Is there something to be concerned about outside of the giant snake in the sky?
Oh, of course. Yeah, Nocturne is incredibly dangerous. Which I'm sure you noticed there were no single travelers on the road on your way here. We only move in groups.
Oh, I suppose that is true. It's not something I noticed before, but now that I think about it, are there just roving thieves, or what do you have to be concerned about? The desert creatures?
Yes, the life in this area can be incredibly hostile. And even in the areas that are not desert, when the river floods, it can become incredibly difficult to travel.
Cinco Meda's a double-edged sword, it sounds like. She protects you, but she also can hurt you if she's too protective.
Give me an insight check.
Okay. 13.
13. When you say this, you see Naima's face. The smile on it drops. She is not excited to hear what you're saying about Cinco Meda right now. But before you have a chance to react, you feel a tap on your shoulder, and John whispers in your ear, and he says, we have a problem. Here, he points to a section in the document which talks about where all of how the profit for trade will be broken up. And he says, you see here, it says that the Legion earns a 3% fee on net profit. That's going to cause problems. We needed that to say gross profit.
Does Naima have the authority? Is she the one making the decisions, or do we have to talk to someone else?
Yeah, you're in the room with the people who are making the decisions on how things get written. So now is the time to bring this up.
Okay. Naima, we have a minor revision to make.
Okay, what's the problem?
The tariff guidelines set forth by the Buccaneers Legion require a 3% gross tariff on trade. But here I believe someone's made a typo, or a write-o, you could say, and they have written net. Is it possible to change this?
She takes the papers, looks them over, kind of furrows her brow. This seems like a really small problem to be making such a fuss over it. Do you really care this much about it? Before you respond, give me a wisdom insight check.
18.
She seems to be well-meaning. She does not seem to understand the implications of the wording of this statement.
I agree, it is a minor detail, but the individuals I represent and the greater whole of the Legion do require this wording. How can we go about rewording it?
It's just, we would have to rewrite the whole contract. It would really cause problems if we had to, or at least this whole page, and it would really make things difficult if we had to go back and do it. If it's not that big of a deal, could we just sign it, please?
Unfortunately, we can't. And I'm sorry to be an inconvenience, but if we can revise just this page, we'd be satisfied.
Let me see what I can do.
Thank you.
Naima stands, walks over to another table, and speaks with a few of the Nocturnian bureaucrats who have been working on this document. You see there's an older man there, and he is shaking his head as she's saying this to him. And then she comes back, sits down, and says, I'm sorry, they're saying that this is just not worth it. We need to move forward.
Okay. Let's take a brief recess. I'll check with Norman to see how they feel about this. And Kato puts his hands on the table and sort of pushes himself up and starts moving towards
No,
the
please,
bureaucrats that she started talking to.
She reaches and tries to get you to stop, but you are already storming toward that table. They look up at you, kind of sizing you up, trying to see, like, what's this little man gonna do?
Look, you don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. We want to get this over with. I can't budge on this point, and I need it to be changed. I apologize for the scribe's inconvenience, but this is what their job is. And this is what my job is, and this is what your job is. Can you help me find a solution to this?
Give me an intimidation check.
13 this time.
The older man, who you earlier saw shaking his head, looks back down at the table before him at the papers that he is currently working on, and says, "Look, are we gonna have a problem here? What's going on?"
What's on the table other than the papers that he's working on?
They've got glasses, and there's a few little plates with food on them.
Does he have a plate in front of him?
Yes.
I very deliberately pick up the plate and drop it on the ground in front of him. And I say, I'm here for a certain reason, and it's to make sure that the Legion gets what they have been promised.
The ceramic plate of hummus shatters on the floor, creating a massive mess, getting all over the white robes of the people standing here.
What a waste of hummus.
Give me another intimidation check, this time with advantage.
Is Connor around at all, or is he still gone?
You look back to see if Connor's there. He is still out.
With advantage, that is a 22.
The man shrinks back, suddenly recognizing the strength that your body carries. He looks up at you with fear in his eyes, recognizing the potential danger of a man with a hammer, and says, look, okay, fine. We'll make the change, and it'll say gross profit, not net. Is that all? Is that what you need?
I look to John silently.
John nods.
I look at him and I nod and I say, I appreciate your help. And I start to pick up the pieces of porcelain that I've dropped on the ground.
Okay. We are going to cut again to a hallway of the Igetis estate. Connor, could you describe yourself for me?
Okay, Connor is a young man. He's 18, but his look makes him look like he's almost like 15. He's very young looking. Has brown hair. Has a scar over his left eye. Looks like from a previous battle wound. But he can still see. His clothes kind of have this colorful architecture on it, with feathers and different types of things kind of, strung together to looks like there's a bunch of patches. Looks like it's all handwork to himself to kind of fix up what he can get. He carries a sword on his hip and a pendant around his neck, with a little, looks like a snake kind of poking his head out from the actual clothing from his neck.
Connor, you are following a guardswoman of the Igetis estate through dimly lit hallways. A moment ago, you were sitting in one of the common rooms, watching Kato, a Legion Council helmsman, and a few other bureaucrats write and review papers. Just when you thought if you had to watch any more of this, your eyes would rot out of your head, relief came in the form of a guard saying you had a visitor. This news is certainly strange, considering you don't know anyone in Nocturne aside from Kato and your fellow countrymen from the Buccaneers Legion. But as you walk, you pass by an opening which leads to the garden, and in it, you see a woman knelt next to a small pond with long blonde hair. You haven't spoken to her, but she's part of the diplomatic party that you've been in, and you've heard that her name is Aila. Supposedly, she's from the far north, where the world is perpetually in winter, but you only see a glimpse of her. The guard takes a turn to the right down a stairway and leads you into the foyer. This room is absolutely gorgeous, one of the most finely decorated rooms in all of the estate. Every surface, including the floors and ceiling, is covered in decorative embellishments of gold and silver, and in the center of the vaulted ceiling hangs a massive glass chandelier, intricately crafted to cast dazzling light in every direction. Across the foyer, you see a man in Legion attire. His attention snaps to you as you enter the room. Your pet, the red-scaled Snurpent.
We should have done our vocal warm-ups
It's a new-
before we started this.
I did vocal
Yeah.
warm-ups.
I did.
I just suck in general.
My problem was that I was stupid and I ate spicy food before this, so.
Ooh.
Do you know what? I had spicy food last night, and that's why I had to go to the bathroom.
Oh.
100%.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Keep that one in. It's a gift for everybody.
Your pet. Your pet, the red-scaled... I almost said Snurpent again, damn it.
Snurpent.
Serpent.
It's just going to be a new
Serpent.
critter. That's
Serpent.
Your pet, the red-scaled serpent you named Ruby, has spent the past week nestled in your collar to avoid attention. But now, you feel her burrow down even further, as if she fears she can be seen even under the decorative feather ruff around your neck. The man across the foyer shows no indication of noticing anything strange, and he strides toward you with a hand outstretched. I am Babatunde, Council Helmsman. You are Connor?
His arms are behind his head, just trying to, like, get his head back in the game because he's been in such a boring meeting the entire time. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm Connor. Nice to meet you. Never seen you before. Why are you here? Kind of looks up and down, trying to figure out who this guy is.
I am with the local Legion embassy. I have some news that I think that you will want to hear. This guard, sir, or ma'am, sorry, I couldn't see you under that armor. Would you mind giving the two of us some privacy? The guardswoman looks back and forth between you two suspiciously, and she says, I can stand on the other side of the room. Is that okay? And Babatunde says, yes, that would be fine. Here, Connor, would you sit here with me? And he directs you toward one of the many ornate rugs throughout the estate.
Sure, he takes a seat. He kind of is very confused that he doesn't get he doesn't get any kind of news in general. He's like, why am I being called over here?
Connor, back whenever you were one of the crew in the Legion, you manned a ship named the Courser. Did you not?
Yes, one of a few. That was my last ship I was on. What's this about?
Well, a little over a month ago, the Legion lost contact with the Courser and no longer received communication from them. It was located off the Grain Coast. All that remained was the wreckage of the ship and the bodies of your crewmates.
What? That can't be possible. That crew is one of the best crews I've ever been on. What do you mean they're gone?
We searched for survivors, but we found none. We believe that they were attacked by a rogue pirate ship defectors from the Legion.
Defectors. They don't... Do we know who they are? He's kind of looking this concerned face, a bit of anger showing.
There are a few ships which are still at large that we believe it may be, but we are not certain at this moment.
But do we even know why they would do that?
Connor, I have a question for you. The manifest of the Courser listed a highly valuable piece of cargo which was being shipped to Malus, but no remains of that package were located. Do you know anything about that package? And as he says this, you feel Ruby stiffen under your collar.
Package. I don't know anything about any type of package. We were delivering just standard goods last time I checked.
Give me a deception check.
14.
14.
15 on the roll, -1.
I'm going to roll a die. He studies your face. Very good.
Jake's just going to roll a die for no particular reason.
Don't even worry about it.
Babatunde studies your face. He says, "Good. Thank you for being honest with me."
They don't really tell us if there's any type... We always know there's probably something on board, but we never get told what's on board. You know how things work.
I see.
There's always something valuable we always are carrying, but the crew never gets told. Only person that knows on board be the captain.
That's good. That's good to know. Listen, Connor, I have a gift for you that I would like to give you. And if you would allow me, I would treat you to some tea. Would you mind joining me back at the embassy?
Sure, but I've been hired by my boss in there, and I'm supposed to be his bodyguard. I'm not really sure I'm supposed to go too far.
It will not take much time. If you don't mind, we'll just have a little time to ourselves. If you're already stepped away, then I'm sure that him being in a palace full of guards, that he will be safe. As you're considering these words, his face is warm and friendly. However, you hear a voice in your head. It is small. And as this voice speaks, you feel Ruby moving under your collar. And it says, "Don't go. I don't trust him."
He kind of gets an eye twitch for a second. He's like, that's always a new feeling. He's just getting used to that. He's like, I really shouldn't be leaving my boss. He doesn't like me going too far. It's kind of my job. He pays me for this. But I appreciate the offer.
Give me a persuasion check.
19 on a roll, 18.
18. Babatunde, his smile for only a moment flickers. And he pauses after you say this, considers it, and says, well, no problem. Of course, I will have the opportunity to see you tomorrow. So, next time you have a chance, just come by the embassy, ask for me, Babatunde, and I will make sure that you are welcomed. I will share some tea with you, and I will get you that gift.
Understood. Thank you, sir.
Very well. You have a good day. And he stands, pushes himself up off the ground, extends a hand out toward you.
He shakes it again.
Have a good night.
You too.
Babatunde walks out the front door of the Igetis estate.
His eye twitches again. Really? Ugh. This guy like, it's a headache. Like he's like, oh, this is such a weird feeling.
The voice in your head asks, What do you think he wanted?
I don't know. Everyone has an alternative motive.
Do you think it had something to do with me?
Hopefully not. Could be. What it sound like, probably.
She nestles down as deep in your collar as she can and stays still. We're going to cut from there. All four of you, in your separate places, feel the ground begin to suddenly rumble with violent energy. Cracks form in the ground and items fall from the walls. You all rush to the nearest safety and wait for the quake to end. But after several minutes, it shows no sign of stopping. Kato, you in the common room have sought refuge in the doorway. You are crouched next to Naima. She looks to you with fear and confusion. You hear shouts from the hallway behind you, and you turn to see two guards of the House of Geddes rushing toward you. One shouts, "Lady Naima, please, we must get you to safety." Unsteadily, she stands, and one guard places a hand under her arm to support her. Naima looks to you, nods her head, and asks, "What about him?" The guard shakes his head. "Members of the house only. I'm sorry, sir, you must find your own way to safety." They begin to walk away from you. Kato, you are alone in this doorway. All of your compatriots have fled to other locations within the house. What do you do?
I immediately walk out the door and I shout for Connor! Connor, where are you?
You shout down the hallway. The only response are the constant bickering and shouting of other guards and residents of the estate rushing back and forth. You do not see Connor.
Does this seem to be does the source of this seem to be a sound, or is it the ground shaking specifically?
The ground is physically vibrating.
Okay. And everyone around me that's like a Nocturnian native isn't acting like this is a normal thing to happen?
Give me an insight check.
Okay. That is a 12.
A 12. It's hard to say in all the chaos, but nobody acts like they know what's going on.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to start seeking out Connor and anyone else from the... I'll make sure John and the rest of my party is okay and with me. And I'm just
They've already moved on. They ran whenever it started shaking.
Then I'll look for the rest of the party, any other members of the Buccaneers Legion or members of our diplomatic mission.
Okay.
And maybe try to find the source of this if there is one.
You begin making your way shakily down the hallway. Give me an investigation check.
That is a 13.
13. You are not able to locate Connor, but you do make your way back to the quarters that you were staying in this estate. And a guard, a Malus guard, not a Nocturnian guard, a Malus guard, runs up and says, "Get to the airship. We're fleeing."
All right. Does it seem like a genuine guard?
You can give me an insight check. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That is a nat 20.
Nat 20. He's got all of the things. He's got authentic clothing. He's got authentic gear and weapons. He speaks like a person from Malus. This is a Malus guard.
He's got a t-shirt that says Malus #1.
With a little.
All right, I make my way to the airship.
Hurry to the courtyard. You rush downstairs out to the courtyard, and you see a small crowd is beginning to form, funneling up a ramp onto the main deck. A guard at the top of the ramp shouts, "Keep it orderly, everyone! Remain calm!" You enter this line as others continue to flow out of the estate and join in behind you. After only a minute, you make your way up to the top of the ramp, and the guard there asks you to show him your papers. After proving that you are a member of the diplomatic mission, he allows you on deck. The deck is a surreal state of ordered chaos. Despite all the running and shouting, the crew is making steady progress toward unmooring the ship. Above it all, the calm voice of the captain. a woman in her mid-50s who you reason must be Lynn the Mechanic, chief engineer of the Malus Empire. The last thing you hear before you are ushered below deck is a guard running up to her and saying, "We've been unable to locate Prince Norman," to which Lynn confidently replies, "Well, find him, and do it fast." Aila, you have made your way to the airship and joined the line. As the line in front of you diminishes, though, the line behind you grows and grows. You begin to make your way up the ramp until you near the front of the line. There's a couple who stand ahead of you in line, and you recognize they're wearing garb of the servants of the House of Geddes. As they approach the guards, they seem feeble. The guard, standing strong, says, "Papers." The husband shakes his head. The guard replies, "Diplomatic party members only. I'm sorry, but you have to leave." The husband begins to protest, but the guard places his hand on his sword and growls, "Move along. There is no time for this."
Aila is standing there looking at the guard, and she all of a sudden acts like she dropped something. "Oh my gosh, I've dropped my stuff. Oh my goodness," and tries to make a little bit of a disturbance to see if they can get past the guard while she's doing that.
Sure, okay. Roll me either performance or deception, whatever you prefer.
So 14 deception.
He gets an 18 on the die. He puts a hand on his blade and turns to the couple and says, "Sorry, you must go. Miss, please leave your things. Show me your papers."
She hands him her papers with one hand and reaches down to grab her bag with the other one.
He studies your papers for a moment, eyes you suspiciously, says, "These look good. Continue." As you make your way onto the ship, you see ovens on the main deck under massive cloth balloons, which are roaring with flames. And even at a distance, you feel the heat of these ovens on your face. As you make your way to the lower decks, you hear, just barely over the chaos, a guard reporting, "We checked Norman's room. There's no sign of him or his retinue." But before you can hear the reply, the mass of people behind you presses you down. Connor, you are in the foyer of the Geddes mansion when the ground began to rumble. Guards started running this way and that, shouting, and no one has really paid you any mind. What are you doing?
"Oh, I gotta find my boss. Good thing I got my sea legs." He's just kind of stumbling through the halls, trying to find Kato.
So it's been a couple months since you've been on a ship, so you expect for your sea legs to come back, but it takes a moment. Give me an acrobatics check.
Acrobatics. That would be an 18.
18. It takes a few moments, but you begin to feel your sea legs again. And for a moment, you feel a little bit at home in a weird way. But you press on and run down the hallway before you, shouting for Kato. With no response, you run through the manor, trying to get to the wing where the diplomatic party has been staying. And as you do, you pass by the courtyard, and you see the crowd formed around the airship.
Looks out the window. "Well, I guess that's my next spot to go." He starts panicking and running.
You run out into the courtyard. The crowd of people are now flowing freely onto the ship. The guards at the top of the ramp are no longer asking for papers. But as you pass, they do eye you suspiciously. You cross the deck, and as you do, you immediately recognize who the captain is from your experience at sea. You see Lynn the Mechanic scratching her head anxiously and looking about. She shares a few words with a Malus guardsman, says loud to her crew, loud enough that you could hear, "There's no more time. We can't wait for him. We're taking off." The last thing you see as you go below deck are the lines tethering the ship to the ground being cast off. Lee, you and Damien were still in the lounge when the quake began. Guards of the House of Geddes found you two there and escorted you back to Damien's family estate. However, once you arrived, Damien was ushered into the family's personal wing, and you were not permitted to come with him. You run through the house, which is now eerily empty. Just barely over the rumble of the ground, you're able to make out the sounds of massive engines revving from the courtyard. As you enter the courtyard, you see the airship now fully unmoored and beginning to ascend into the sky. A crowd of people shout up to the ship, begging to be led on, but it continues to float away. A woman jumps and grabs one of the ropes hanging from the side of the ship and begins to climb. She is soon followed by more.
Shit. I mean,
He's shitting.
Yeah, I'm throwing up.
Uh-oh.
I think, yeah, Lee's gonna... Where am I, on the ground floor of this building? The lounge?
Yeah, you are on the ground floor, but you are standing next to the stairs, and there is a balcony above you.
Okay, nobody else is here because the house is empty?
There are a lot of people in the courtyard. The halls and common rooms of the house that you pass by are all empty.
Okay. Well, I'm alone. Lee pulls out a drum as he's running, like a drum that's around a strap around his torso, and starts to play a quick beat and sends out a light prayer and is going to cast Enhance Ability. So I'm going to take... I think I'm going to take... which one is it? Bull's Strength. So I get advantage on strength checks and my carrying capacity doubles. I could do Dex, but I don't think it's going to make me any faster here. So I want that athletic bonus. I'm trying to go. I'm trying to sprint the fuck out of here.
For as strange as your behavior is right now, there is nobody who has the time to observe you. So you do this and no one notices.
Sick. I'm sprinting. I mean, I don't have any better ideas. I'm going to grab that rope too.
You run up the stairs, up to the balcony, and around the rim of the courtyard to where a rope lies just out of reach.
Oh,
you can jump.
Oh, I'm
and
jumping.
Grab it.
Absolutely, I'm jumping. Are you kidding me? I don't have any better way to do it.
A DC 10 acrobatics check.
Okay, and then the description of the spell says I have advantage on strength checks. Does that apply to all strength abilities?
Acrobatics is dexterity.
Fuck! Can I take athletics instead? I should have done the dex one. God damn it! My acrobatics is better than my athletics.
You've already made your choice.
I've already made my choice. Are we sure I can't use athletics instead of acrobatics?
What did you get?
I got a 1.
A natural 1.
1 + 1 for athletics, 1 + 3 for acrobatics.
You place a foot.
Are we
on the
sure I
railing
can't
around
use
the balcony.
athletics?
I don't think that 4 is gonna help you.
I could get advantage if it was strength instead.
You launch yourself toward the rope, reaching out with one hand extended, and you feel the end of the rope slip through your fingers. You look up, and at the very tip of the rope, a tiny black beetle sits perched, holding on for dear life. You feel something within you push you, and suddenly the rope is within reach again. You grab it and climb up.
Hell yeah. Can I use athletics to climb up?
Sure, if you want. Yeah, go ahead.
Watch me roll another one. I get 2 1s in a row. Oh my god, you're not going to fucking believe what just happened. The first one was a 1.
Roll it at 20.
The second one was a 17 + 1. So
okay.
I'm good.
All right. Yeah.
I'm all right.
Connor's just looking out the window and seeing this. He's like, holy, watching this.
There had to be somebody that didn't make that jump, man. Wasn't me, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's one of the people that
you
jumps all day and they're missing, and you just like, just get it.
There are people who did not make the jump. But Lee, you're not one of those people today. You climb to the top of the rope, and as you near it, a hand extends over the side and takes your hand and lifts you up over. A Malus guardsman sets you down on the ground, and for a moment you both just heave. breaths. Does heave mean breathing? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I mean,
You're vomiting.
You breathe deeply. Heave, it does sound like vomiting a little bit.
And
but
for a
like,
moment, you both pant with heaving breaths.
there you go.
He catches his breath, points to the center of the deck, and says, "There, below deck, with the others." You stand up, wobble over, struggling against the violent heaving of the airship as it ascends into the sky, and make your way down. In the hull, you all have found places. Down here, there is no more social rank. Noble sits next to commoner. You find places among the crates, barrels, and netting where you can finally sit and catch your breath. The roar of the engines, the rush of wind past the hull, and the shouting from upstairs remains constant for the next few minutes. And then, suddenly, the ship lurches violently to one side and then the other, and the shouting from above raises in pitch. From the opening above, Lynn rushes down the platform and shouts, "We need a few able-bodied passengers to come help." The huddled people down here look at each other, and then one by one, a few stand and begin to walk upstairs.
No hesitation. He's getting up and doing it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to see if I can help. Can I... It may be too late to do this. Would it be possible for me to, like, retroactively make some kind of perception check to see, like, looking down as we were lifting off, if I could identify any cause of the ground shaking?
In that moment, it was too hectic for
That's
you
fair.
to be able to do that.
That's all right.
You were vomiting on the deck,
Yeah.
so...
Fair enough.
Shit myself on
You
the way
wipe
up.
the puke off your
Threw
stupid
myself
little
up.
face. Kato, Aila, what are you guys up to?
Yeah, I'm already stood. I'm probably helping out already.
Same. I've stood up to see if I can go do anything to help.
A small group of volunteers make their way up the platform, including the four of you. You stand for a moment atop the main deck as fierce winds whip your face, nearly blinding you. Lee, knowing you missed the opportunity earlier, now you look back past the stern of the ship toward the city you just fled. And despite the amount of time that you felt the airship rising, it seems like you're still level with the city. You look to the bow, and you see that far before you, the land suddenly ends in a sharp cliff face, where it had not before. It seems, somehow, the capital city of Nocturne is ascending into the sky. Lynn shouts, "With me!" And she runs forward to grab a rope, which a few crew members are struggling to tame. You see this rope connects to the corner of the mizzenmast's headsail, which has come free and is flapping violently. All of you, assuming you are here to help, of course, grab the rope and begin to tug against the force of the wind as the ship bobs back and forth from port side to starboard. I want to see a group strength check. This is going to be a DC 15 athletics check. So this is going to work like group stealth, where if half of you succeed, then it's a success.
What is it we're doing?
Nat 20!
So there is a rope that is tied to a corner of the head sail on the mizzenmast. You are trying to hold it steady so the wind can catch it and stabilize the ship.
If I grow, would that be weird for everybody? Like, would everyone be like...
Man.
Yeah, but what are you going to do in the game?
Because I'm planning to use... I would like to use Giant's Might, because that makes me stronger, but I also don't want to draw a ton of attention to me if that's like, heretical.
I think there would be questions after if you were to suddenly grow in size in front of everyone, but no one's going to ask you in the middle of what's going on.
Okay, that's fair. Can I just go into a rage?
Yeah.
I go into a rage, and I'm pissed. I'm rolling I got a... What the fuck number is that? I got a dirty 20.
Aila?
14.
14. And then what? I think Connor, I saw you celebrate. What did you get?
20.
Nice. Okay, so Lee, what did you get to?
I got a 17 plus 1, 18.
Nice. Okay, so three successes, one of them being critical. You guys do this. Where you cannot see, the airship comes within inches of the ground, but does not hit it. The airship begins to descend away from the floating city. The mizzen mast tied down once again, Lynn stands and begins giving out orders to her crew once again to correct heading, and falls back, sitting against the wall of the ship. You are now safely away from the city, and as you look back, you see a massive piece of land rising steadily into the sky. The ship is finally calm. The wind is no longer whipping your face. You feel the ship lean gently portside, shifting its course back toward home. The shriek of a beast cuts through this moment. Lynn's eyes snap open, and she begins shouting orders ahead. Directly ahead of the boat, you see Atramos. The snake is giant, nearly 30 feet long, with fangs twice the size of any human. Its bird-like wings stretch far to both sides, and as they flap, the white feathers on those wings dance in the wind. 2 legs hang below, with deadly 3-toed claws outstretched to catch whatever prey they can. Atramos collides with the front balloon of the ship, tearing a massive hole in it, then flaps its wings, sending a gust of wind over the deck, knocking you all down.
Ugh.
The ship leans hard toward the port side, so much so you think it might turn sideways, and then the nose drops, and the ship enters a downward spiral toward the ground. The pressure of this motion is immense, and you feel as if 1,000 blankets have suddenly been laid upon you. Then all turns to black. Everyone give me a DC 20 Constitution saving throw.
13.
14.
6.
Dirty 20.
32.
No way.
I rolled an
beats
18.
dude. You got that.
Holy cow. So, Aila, you're the only one who sees this. You taste sand in your mouth, and there's a tension in your head that makes it feel like it's going to be ripped in half. For only a moment, you fight back against the pervading darkness which seeks to consume you. And you're able to lift yourself up and look around. You are in the desert of Nocturne. You and your companions were thrown from the airship into the sand, along with everyone else who was above deck at the time. Most of them have grievous wounds, and you don't think that they'll survive. Beyond them, the airship lays in the sand, still intact, but with balloons deflated, and smoke rising from the stern where the engine rests. You hear a voice to the opposite side, and you turn to it. You see Lynn the mechanic, knelt in the sand back toward you, a small rivulet of blood trickling down the side of her head. The ringing in your ears makes it almost impossible to make out any words. But faintly, you hear Lynn say, "A deal?" The darkness begins to take over again, and despite your valiant struggle, this time it is winning. The last thing you hear is Lynn say, I accept. And that is where we'll end our session.
Nice.
Damn, bro, I'm looking forward to dying from dehydration in the desert. Is
I'm getting my shit on me.
Is the city like floating, or has the earth under it just raised it up?
The city is floating. Yes.
So it's like on an island, like a floating island.
Yeah.
Okay. Beth,
Damn.
I found
so
your character moments especially touching. That was a great job. And if that was incorrect, I'm very impressed.
Oh, thanks.
I loved everyone's jobs. Yeah, you all did great. But I will admit, I think that one was the most fun that I had out of all four.
It was the most emotional. I feel like we can all agree. Like, mine was just like
fun.
throwing some hummus on the ground, and she was like in another person's body experiencing the past, like and talking to a god.
Yeah, and I figured out I have to have this for those moments. I think I'm going to have this Barack Obama documentary style, which is the say like. Have you ever heard him do it? Yes. So this is it. So I've watched a couple of documentaries with him, and the elephant stepped toward.
Oh right, he did narrate some documentaries.
The smaller elephant.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay.
Yes, he did, and it's a very broken kind of. Yes, that's what I mean. So kind of a a slower documentary type. Maybe a little more.
It gives you more time to
broken.
think about it.
Anyway, and then I'll talk in my regular voice. It does, yeah. You kind of pull it along, so I'm just going to kind of it's that whole how her brain's absorbing it as it's happening. Anyway, now her brain's not absorbing anything because she's passed out.
You saw a deal with the devil though, or some shit. I don't know what's going on there, but
now this is cool.
Yeah, something.
I like the
yeah.
I like the setup.
Good. Well, yeah.
I must say, we got into the airship. The airship started falling down. You said, I know it was about Aila trying to fight passing out, but it was like you try to fight this pressure in your head, and I was like, this is beginning to sound a lot like Baldur's Gate 3. This is really veering into Baldur's Gate 3 territory.
Is there a name for the airship?
The airship.
Oh, cool. All right. Very creative.
It's the only...
It is, it's the only airship in existence.
Oh,
I was going to say.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
After this.
It still exists. It's sitting there.
At what point does it cease being an airship?
All right. Let's go ahead and end recording, and then we can take a little pee-pee break.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Echoes of Malus is created and DM'd by Jake Parsley. Connor is played by Justin White. Lee is played by Anthony Mott. Aila is played by Annabeth Parsley. Kato is played by Drake D. White. Additional writing and combat design are provided by Zachary Cox. Our audio editor is Drake D. White. Our music is by Public Circuit. And our concept art is by EternalGem. Your producer is me, Leanne Jay. We'll see you next time.